All right, bro. So it's the Funhouse back at it again with another chapter discussion. My voice sounds a little bit weird because I'm sick, but I'm here back again with Liam, and we're
Yo.
here to overview the latest chapter and discuss it in its entirety. So go ahead.
So, as we remember, chapter 14, Dreads stabbed Griss with his jinky, which seems to be the rings, and that turn into cool-ass Wolverine claws. And at the beginning of chapter 15, we see kind of Rudo's world devolving, and it's this really cool abstract art style. And it's flashing back to his main man. I don't remember. What's his name, Dave? I just forgot. Regto. And it flashes back to when Rudo was like a wee lad, not very old, and he's trying to fucking kill himself by bashing his head against a wall. And Regto is a little bit confused as to why he's doing this. But it's because Rudo has nothing. Like, you see the empty room that he's in, and it says, "I have nothing." And it's leading the poor little guy to depression. And it's not very good, so he's trying to kill himself. But I don't know if he'd kill himself, but hurt himself by bashing his head against the wall. So Regto has the genius idea of trying to find Rudo something that he can fill his room with, something that he can love, something that he can enjoy, right? And he says he wants to fill this room with all of your favorite things. So that's what they do. They go around the town, and Rudo tries soccer, not very good at it. Tries cooking food, he cuts the cutting board in half. Whatever there is, he's not very great. But when Rudo sees one of them rich sky peoples throw some junk in the trash can, he immediately sprints towards it. And he starts crying and asking, like, I can't believe, why would they throw this away? This poor thing, it's not done yet. It's barely even broken. And that's when Regto realizes, along with Rudo, that is his thing. He finds the value in the things that people throw away, or just in anything.
On top of the fact that he's projecting, because Rudo feels like he himself was thrown out from his parents.
Yeah. But after Regto, says that he found what he loves, and he can find worth in things that have been discarded, immediately cuts back to Rudo catching Griss's Hamsa. Dreads looks a little bit surprised here, which, is reasonable because, like, this Hamsa is powering up. And this is when we realize Rudo's ability is not the power to turn anything he touches into a jinky. It's the power to draw out the value of anything he touches to the fullest, which is basically the same thing, but it's cool that it's been more it's been described more. And we see the Hamsa just transform into this awesome, I don't even know what to describe it as, like this like geometric,
he's got like a full
Pokemon thing. Yeah, he's got the max level Susanoo. It's going crazy.
Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you why I think this chapter is the best chapter so far. And we say that about every chapter, but I'm going to tell you why it really is true with this chapter. This chapter for me really solidified the main theme of this story, which I think is going to be the underlying theme of like the entire manga, which is that nothing/nobody is worthless, and everyone/everything has value. And we can see this all the way from the beginning, when there's that idea that Rudo feels as if he is thrown out trash, and that's how he sees himself, which is why he has this infatuation with taking what is considered worthless by others and repairing it, or taking care of it and finding some value in anything and everything, including himself, hopefully. And even in the line where Regto says, you can find worth in things that have been discarded too, it's so powerful to me because it's not only explaining Rudo as a character, but it's explaining himself, because Regto himself is someone who took in Rudo, which is what most people would see as worthless, thrown out trash.
Yeah.
At least from his parents. And this is also tying back to the last chapter as well, where Dreads refers to Griss as worthless. And the reason why that word has emphasis so much in all of these different dialogue bubbles is because it's just this idea that Dreads has very strict standards for what is valuable and what is worthless, while Rudo believes that everything has value, and it perfectly lines up with his ability which is to make sure that he can draw out the value in anything. So that's why his power is so good for him as a character, because he can pick up the most useless, just stupid hunk of junk like a plunger and find value in it. And that is just amazing to me. And so I think that a reason as to why this Hamsa looks like it's going to be so amazingly powerful for Rudo is because it really mattered a lot to Griss. And although it wasn't Griss's Jinky, like I thought it would be, it definitely, if Griss was a giver, it would be his Jinky. And this ties back to the idea that Jinky are items that a soul dwells in, right? Well, let's entertain the possibility that items that you care for can still have a soul in them before they become a Jinky, right?
Yeah.
It's safe to assume that those gloves that Rudo cares for were very valuable before he became a giver, and I don't see why the same logic can't apply to the Hamsa or any other item that someone cares for a lot, which is why it seems like Rudo is going to be incredibly powerful with this Hamsa, and why he's going to be able to actually fight against Dreads next chapter. Overall, seeing how Rudo has the complete opposite philosophy of Dreads, and how he's going to, show that off in a very physical way. I'm not sure if he's protecting Griss or avenging him, because it's hard to say whether Griss will live through this.
Yeah.
But
he did get stabbed, with 4 blades in the chest.
Yeah, he got impaled. Rudo does not want Griss to die, because in the beginning of the chapter you can see the parallelism between how Griss got stabbed and how Regto got stabbed, and it's making Rudo feel the same way. Especially since, although I'm confused a little bit on the timeline, Regto should have only been killed yesterday. It sounds silly, but this is a very fast-paced manga, and so we can sometimes forget that really Rudo has not had a lot of time to process this, but he's already traumatized. And this is perfectly shown in the super abstract art of the first few pages of this chapter,
which is just really awesome.
Yeah, which, by the way, I'll keep painting parallels to the evil eye with the Hamsa and everything. I really do believe in all that, and I think this was just an amazing chapter. Not only did it give us more insight onto Regto and his just really it wasn't easy raising Rudo, probably. He really had to work to find the value in Rudo. I know that sounds mean, but he seriously had to take care of this kid and help him. He was not an easy kid to raise, obviously. He had problems. But Regto saw the value in that, and it makes me so heartfelt that he really took care of this kid, because he did not want him to just rot. He really wanted to find the value in Rudo as a person. He worked his ass off to find that. And Rudo is the same way with trash, and now he's the same way with people, because when Dreads called Griss worthless, I think that triggers something in him. On top of stabbing him, when he mentioned that he was worthless and that's why he stabbed him, because he viewed him as worthless, that was the tipping point.
Yeah, it was really good to see, obviously good to see more Regto and stuff, but it really cements kind of Rudo's ideology into place and what he's going to be fighting for in the future.
Yeah.
It was just cool to see. This chapter, even though it's mostly flashback, it's 80% flashback, it was still just great. It really best chapter. I can't wait to say chapter 16 is the best chapter ever.
I'm at a loss. I didn't think that it would get this deep, but I'm really
so
happy.
Quickly.
Yeah, I'm really happy it did. It's very impactful. And as a final touch, I'll also mention how on Griss's Hamsa at the end, where it has Rudo's name written on the top, it's a very nice detail. But it's not written in English. It's written in this random language that Gachiakuta has. I've noticed it in the backgrounds of some of the chapters, but they do have their own language. Any final thoughts?
Just great chapter.
Yeah, I hate to make a short video for the best chapter yet, but I guess what do you think could happen with this Hamsa Jinky?
I don't think I know we thought before that it might save Griss, or maybe something to like more protect than attack. I think this is like gonna just destroy Dreads. Dreads is gonna live though. I know that. I mean, I don't think he's gonna die, but I also think Griss is gonna die.
Yeah, from my research, and like when I was in Israel, I asked a lot of artisans about like their thoughts on the Hamsa and the historical significance of it, the cultural aspect. There doesn't seem to be anything about healing or repair with the Hamsa at all. So I feel like it would be a little bit contrived if somehow Griss was able to survive this because of the Hamsa.
And especially his wound is like...
Yeah, it is. The Hamsa does represent those strength, protection, welfare, generally though. So I do expect him to attempt to protect Griss from Dreads.
Yeah.
Assuming Griss is going to live through this, it's going to be because Rudo protects him the rest of the fight.
Yeah. And it might be pretty cool to see him protect Griss as well as fight Dreads. That's going to be pretty sick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a future where the next chapter is not good. So I have very little
next video we're going to be like, the worst chapter so far.
Yeah. But anyway, that's the video, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. And have a good one.